So I've been thinking a lot lately about how my art and creating art fits into the world. And, you know, there's been so much of my life up until now where I kind of just saw creating art as something that was quite like self-indulgent, something that you were doing for yourself. And I think when you're younger, especially when you're a teenager or in your early 20s, and you might be often doing something to kind of build your ego and build your sense of self and everything like that, which is totally valid and a necessary part of everybody's life. But it only has occurred to me in the last maybe 4 or 5 years that, you know, how much artists are really contributing to the world through their art, how much they are really bringing to the world through their art. And if you can imagine how we have been so detached from all of us, the human collective, from our divine feminine, from our feminine energy, our Mother Earth energy, our intuition, the magic, the unseen, the telepathic, the nature of nature. This is all the feminine energy, which is embodied by both men and women on Earth, has nothing to do with men or women. But how much we live in the logical, the physical, the tangible, the financial, what we can see, what we can touch, what we can, with our in this 3D world. We are at such a disconnect. We have come to a point in humanity where we are at just this extreme disconnect from everything that is other than what we can see, touch, taste, hear, and smell in the 3D world. And I've started to recognize and realize the overwhelming importance of art as a vehicle to transmit all of that unseen, all of the messages from the other world, all of the messages from the spirit world, from our higher selves, from our intuition, from for centuries, up until modern human history, these things were revered. These things were revered. This is where religion was born. This is where mysticism was born. Astrology. All of these things were revered. Gods and goddesses. This is ancient wisdom and ancient Egyptian, civilizations and Babylonian and previous to that, preceding civilizations. This was revered. This was the pure gold information. This is where intelligence, true genius lay in all of this. And we've, through our eternal, search as modern humans to create advancement and progress, we've completely disconnected ourselves from our natural world, from our feminine energy, from all that's unseen, from the fact that our heart beats in time with the earth, that, everything around us, everything that we can't see, everything on a quantum level is connected to us deeply. So these are things that I think are starting to really come back, which thankfully through technology, ironically through technology and through the internet and through social media and all these things and through all these, infinite streams of information, people are starting to wake back up. Some people are going further into their masculine energy, but a lot of people are starting to wake back up and realize, kind of like after a long sleep, a really long sleep, realize that the unseen isn't just as important, isn't just as real, isn't just as valid. It's even more so than the seen. When you end this time in your physical body, when you end your time on earth, none of the things that this world prioritizes are coming with you. None of those things are coming with you. Your soul, your energy, your essence is only carrying over the unseen. None of this, none of your body, none of your material wealth, none of your achievements, none of your properties, none of your houses, none of your favorite items are coming with you. Your clothes, your jewelry, it's not coming with you. All that you're carrying is that which you've accumulated on a soul level. That growth that you've accumulated on a soul level. The unseen is the only thing that you carry over to the next life. So why would we waste so much time focusing on material that is ultimately it's ultimately, temporary. Anyway, it's all ephemeral. The material world is incredibly temporary. I mean, everything decays, everything gets older, everything loses, its essence. So, it's just insanity for us to completely forget the vast majority of what is important. And it's not to say that the physical world isn't important, because it allows us to have this human experience. But bringing it back and tying it back to art and the creation of art, this is why art, and I have realized, and I'm realizing more and more each day, art begins as something maybe that is a sense of self-expression, and you're doing it just for yourself to find out who you are, to go deeper into who you are, and that's great, and there's nothing wrong with that, and it's still that for me very much. But even if we zoom out even more on a human collective, a human collective level, art is also a vehicle, a channel, a message portal, if you will, of messages from the unseen. And if artists are true to themselves and standing really in their truth and living in their truth and going deeper, inside themselves, and really allowing their essence to come through, really opening their energy to channel their deeper selves, this is pure gold. This is infinite wisdom, and this is these messages. If we can see these artists as messengers and as portals of information from a different realm, from a higher realm, or from other dimensions, which I've said in one of my previous videos. But it's just fascinating if you think about it that way. And I think, and I personally have stopped seeing art as a 3D kind of entity. And so, you're bringing the 5D, the unseen, the other level, the multidimensional into the single dimensional, into the 3D world. So yes, you're bringing it into the 3D world, but the messages that are coming with it and the energy that is carried in those messages and in that actual paint or whatever it is that you use to create your work is, it's more than physical, it's metaphysical. And if we all start to see the work that we do and what we make and what we create, whether it be art or anything else, it might be music, it might be writing, it might be something that, isn't typically seen as creative, but whatever it is that we're making and contributing to this 3D world, is if we see that as a carrier, as a vehicle for deeper, greater information from the unseen world, from the spirit realm, from other dimensions, from other places in time. Because all of this, once again, is proven in quantum physics. All of this we now know. As much as it's hard for our 3D brains to grasp, all of this we now know is happening. There are infinite multiple realities occurring all at the same time, which is why we can manifest effectively, which is why people learn to manifest and they can shift their reality by shifting their vibration, because you can just tap into any one of them and they're all playing out at the same time. So these messages can come from any dimension, any place in time and space. They can come from the past. They can come from the future. Think about it. It's mind-blowing. These things excite me, and I hope they excite you just as much. But I just wanted to share that with you. And artists out there, or anyone who makes anything tangible or written or musical or whatever it might be, keep going and realize that the work that you're doing is a lot bigger than you think that it is. And without getting our egos all inflated about it, because we all have this ability to do this, realize that when you interact with this art, so you listen to a song, it can totally shift your vibration. We can totally shift the trajectory of your life by the music and the vibration in the music that you listen to. In that very same way, the surroundings, I'm here in these beautiful natural surroundings now. This is shifting my vibration. This is elevating my frequency of being. This is shifting my reality. This is going to change my future and possibly even my past on the timeline, because it's not linear. Everything matters. And your art matters, and your creations matter. Your words matter. What you put into the world matters, and it doesn't just matter, it can shift and change what you know to be, what you think to be true, and what you think has happened, and what will happen in the future. So Think about that.